Well, joining me live now is Royal Editor at the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. He joins me here at Buckingham Palace. Great to see you.
Good morning.
We've seen a few developments overnight. Princess Charlotte and Prince George will be part of the procession. Is that a surprise to you?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they were at the Duke of Edinburgh's memorial service, so they've sort of got a bit used to the crowds and the format of such an event. But just this week, Prince William was saying about how his walking behind his grandmother's coffin brought back memories of his own mother's funeral, and I think that was a particularly dark, tormented time for him. So. Perhaps a surprise that the children are there, but I understand it was a family decision. They sat the children down, had a proper chat with them, and they've reached the conclusion that they should be there.
To me, it's this symbolism and a real sense of duty that you've seen Prince William and Kate really try to instill all the way along. But to have children so young in this procession, it kind of speaks to the modernity of the royal family, or what the Queen did try to do in progressing the royal family.
Well, very much so. Yeah, I think you're right, because the fact that they just won't be in the congregation, they will be in the procession. We know that they're definitely going to be at Westminster Abbey.
And we haven't seen them at all
we haven't.
For the last 10 days.
No, of course. Yeah. And certainly when William went up to Balmoral, Kate stayed behind because the children had just started school. So it's been a hugely busy period for them. But when we saw them at the Platinum Jubilee, they're very well behaved. They know the occasion. They know the big crowds. Apart from Louis, a bit mischievous.
Well, I was going to say, you didn't mention Louis there.
He's being left
Louis
at
not
home.
part of the procession, but.
I mean, Louis stole the show there, but I think he is a bit young. I mean, 4 years old to come to such an occasion of such solemnity. But again, when we saw the kids on the balcony, especially George as well, it was the Queen's wish that the future of the monarchy should be seen. So I think it's almost come full circle in this, that the Queen's wishes are playing out in this sort of final goodbye, really.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely touch. The lovely touch from the palace overnight as well, and releasing this unseen photo, previously unseen photo of the Queen, and it speaks to what we've been talking about for the last week. Those sparkling blue eyes. Absolutely. And that megawatt smile. It's just a beautiful photo, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's stunning. And just taken this year, I think that the fact that this is the last portrait,
that's right.
Smiling with her eyes almost, these piercing blue eyes. The Queen Consort said this week about how that unforgettable smile, I mean, this is what she will be remembered for, and I think it's a beautiful image to be released today.
It's so beautiful, and hopefully we can bring it up for our viewers as well. But the image of her, and you mentioned, we should labour the point as well, this was taken just a couple of months ago, and she looks healthy and happy and yeah.
Well, just radiant, I think.
Radiant,
and
yeah.
We have those last images when she met Liz Truss just a few days before she passed away, and she was smiling then. But this, to be the last portrait taken at Windsor Castle, in the spring, just moving into summer, she was at a particularly happy period in her life. I think the Duchess of Cornwall, who was then the Queen Consort, said when she went to Balmoral, it was her happiest period. So, it's some really nice memories.
She looks a bit cheeky in that photo as well, which I like. There's just that little twinkle in her eye, which I just think it's a perfect portrait to release on the day of her state funeral. And also King Charles, who has set a cracking pace moving around the country. He released a statement overnight just deeply thankful of the gratitude that people have shown him.
Yes, I think it's particularly important to him. I mean, he's had this whistle-stop tour of the United Kingdom and accepting these messages of condolence, but it's been the people who have come out in their hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I mean, look at the crowds that we've had in the queue. There was the queue for the queue, and now we've had an awful lot of people going to be on the streets today to say their final farewells, and it's very important for him to say thank you.
There's only an hour left to see the Queen lying in state, but of course thousands of people already here on the Mall at Buckingham Palace have camped out overnight just to see part of this procession today. But Russell, you know London better than I do, and I love this city, but to see the city this week with the crowds something quite extraordinary has happened to this city over the last week.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at the crowds that had come to Buckingham Palace and into Green Park. The floral tributes have been absolutely extraordinary. And I think it did take the royals back a little bit because, of course, the Queen absolutely adored throughout the country, indeed the world. We've seen these outpouring of emotions, but certainly they were surprised by the amount of people who have come out to say thank you, I think, for such an incredible legacy.
So what do you think? I mean, because London is a big city, it can be quite anonymous at times. You know, people are always in a hurry,
Yes,
waiting to get to work or home, but I feel like there's been this solemnity, and kind of life has slowed down a bit this week, and people are stopping to metaphorically smell the roses.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you know what it reminds me of? Sort of in a post-COVID sense, everybody was very keen to get back to normal. When we were kind of losing the unity of what COVID had done in this country, certainly. And there was a real sense of togetherness. And I think what the Queen's passing has done is to remind us of all the good things about this country. Is that, you know, be friendly to your neighbours, to be just at one with your community. And it's been a huge community that's come out in force to these last few days.
Yeah, and what struck me about these queues in London and seeing the Queen lying in state was that people almost wanted to line up. They wanted the ritual of the queue and being in that community, and that's why you saw David Beckham do that. I think Boris Johnson overnight, we've heard rumours of him joining the queue. A lot of other celebrities that, you know, they could have jumped the queue. David Beckham was offered to do so, but he didn't want to. I mean, it would have been a PR disaster.
It would have been a big old go. I think it's been a proper pilgrimage for people, haven't it?
That's a good
and
word.
I think people have looked at what's happening and thought, well, that's a part of history, and I really want to be part of that. And how, you know, these people may have never even seen the Queen, let alone been in her company. But it's been a real, again, this sense of togetherness has run the whole way through these past 10, 11 days, and long may it continue, because today we should be a celebration of her life, a celebration of her legacy, and just remind us about all the fantastic things that the Queen brought to this country.
Look, I feel like it's ephemeral. It's not going to last that long, but let's enjoy it while it does last.
Absolutely.
Russell, before we let you go, what would you say to our Australian audience who you know, have affection for the monarchy, had affection for Queen Elizabeth, but maybe aren't sure where this is all going to go? Like, how do you explain what's happened here this week and where it's all?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd agree with them, because if they feel like that, because I think we've woken up in a very different world. The Elizabethan era is such an incredible era of change, and we're about to witness a huge mark of change now, because nobody really knows what the future will hold. Will King Charles be able to change his ways? How long will his reign be? There's an awful lot of issues at his door. However, look at what's happened in this country, and indeed across the world over the last few days. The togetherness, the unity, and I think that's something that everybody should be proud of.
Well said, Russell. You've been lovely company. Thanks so much.
So much.
Appreciate it.